How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and I am back for another
Lost Hero of the Platinum Age.
Why would you call this the Platinum Age?
This is 1933. Were pulp comic noir stories all out in the Platinum Age?
Yeah, there's kind of a debate on that, though.
What do you mean a debate?
Depending on which sites you go by, the Golden Age could have started in 1933, 35, or 39. There's nobody really can come to a consensus on that. But I think our requester here wanted us to cover the Black Bat from 1939. Yes, there was one in 1933.
Then this one is smack in the Platinum Age.
Well, yes, most pulp magazine noir stories were the Platinum Age. This one wasn't very popular, so what little information I have, we are gonna put into this video.
Why are they called pulp comics?
That's actually a little interesting, and we'll mention why it's called that. Yes, and in the not even the 19th, it's detective stories have always been interesting, whether you're reading them through comic books or you're just reading a detective story. People have always had a fascination with detective stories. That's why even after pulp comics went into regular comic book printings, you'll find a whole bunch of stories of people who just are detectives and costume superheroes being detectives themselves. I don't think noir stories are ever going to go out of style. Just look how popular Spider-Man Noir was. But this character did start in what most historians can consider the Platinum Age, but we're going to be reviewing more of the Golden Age version of this character, and we'll talk about a couple of the revivals that have been having. And yes, Dynamite Entertainment always seems to want to bring back the Golden Age characters. So let's go ahead and get into this video of the Black Bat. And
so if you have a request of a hero that you would like to see done on this channel, just leave us a comment in the comment section and we'll make sure that we get it done.
You mean I will make sure that the request gets done. Why are we doing this at the beginning of the video? We usually do this at the end.
Not everybody watches outros.
That's a fair point. So let's get into this version of the Black Bat that started in the Platinum Age but was popular in the Golden Age. So let's get started. Now, as I've stated, these are going to be totally research videos like the very early Golden Age characters I've had where I didn't have comic book, because I cannot find any comic books of these. And one of the main reasons is the first two Black Bats out of the three that I've actually located were done on pulp magazines. Now, if you're not familiar with pulp magazines, the comic books that came out in, well, before the comic books that we have today, mainly they stopped doing them in the 1950s. Pulp magazines were printed on cheap wood pulp. Magazines of the time were printed on higher quality paper, but a lot of like these detective stories like the Black Bat or the Saint or the Spider would come out on pulp magazines, which was cheaper wood paper. So a lot of times if you hear comic book stories of noir on pulp magazines, this is what they were referring to, the cheaper printed magazines of pulp detective comics. Now, the first Black Bat actually came in 1933. Now, the pen name that you will see here will be Murray Leinster, or Leinster, if I'm pronouncing it right. The original creator was actually William Fitzgerald Jenkins. He used Murray as the pen name. Now, the Black Bat only printed for 1 year, 1933 to 34, and was 6 issues. Now, I don't have a lot of information. Apparently, he was a private investigator who assisted the cops in crime fighting. Now, I have found a couple of covers of his original 6 runs, and you see the Black Bat in the background, which I'm trying to figure out why he was called the Black Bat. He is never referred to as the Black Bat in these comic books. His real name is unknown. He first appeared in Black Bat Detective Mysteries #1 in 1933 under Thrilling Publications, which would later become known as Nedor. Now, I've already mentioned who was the pen name for this. Now, one of the things that I have found is they say that the Black Bat is named the Black Bat in the same way that Simon Templar was called the Saint. It was what they were called. Simon Templar wasn't a saint, but he was known as the Saint. But the character, the private investigator known as the Black Bat, was never referred to as the Black Bat, even though that's what his comic was called. I'm guessing they needed some way to identify. I don't know. Maybe it was just a way to bring in readers. But that's it. 6 detective stories of a noir variety, which was big back in the 1930s. That's why you see a lot of detective stories in the 1940s. They were piggybacking off the popularity of that before the costume crime fighting superheroes would be coming out. Noir was rather popular back then. Now, the second Black Bat was Tony Quinn. He first appeared in Black Book Detectives in 1939, published under Nedor, and was created by Norman A. Daniels. But Norman Daniels went by the house name of G. Wyman Jones. So, I mean, it was written by Norman, but he had to go by G. Wyman. Now, the interesting thing about this is there was another bat-themed superhero that also came out in 1939. Can you guess who it is? Well, you obviously aren't a Batman fan, or you didn't actually watch my Golden Age Batman review, because he also came out in 1939 as well. Now, as both of these comic books were printing, each one claimed to be a copy of the other. But the editor of DC, which I do believe was still National Periodicals at the time, Whitney Ellsworth, worked with Black Bat publishers and was able to broker a deal between the two. Now, they think that both of these Black Bats that came out in 1939 drew their inspiration from the original Black Bat, although Bob Kane says that the only bat-themed individual that he drew his inspiration from was a villain from the 1930s. I mean, you're not going to admit to it if you had to. Now, this second Black Bat would actually go on to be the inspiration for a number of other heroes, and I'll get to that in just a second. The original Black Bat was a district attorney, and he was rendered blind when acid was thrown into his face. Having this, he was able to develop his other senses. Now, the very first story did have the origin story, and this character was fully fleshed out. In fact, he did start in 1939 and would go on until 1953, but his stories wouldn't end there. This Black Bat was trying to save evidence against a crime boss, and that's when he got the acid thrown to his face. Now, later, he would get the eyes. Hold on a second. Okay, I believe it was a corneal implant. Is when he got new eyes. He got his eyes got replaced, and he could see in the dark at that point. But with his other senses enhanced because of his blindness, he actually had above normal human potential levels. Now, the DC comic books would borrow this idea for the hero Dr. Midnight and the villain Two-Face. Two-Face being having the acid thrown into his face, but in that one it created the Two-Face character that everybody knows today. And the idea of the super senses would be borrowed for Daredevil later in Marvel comic books, because Matt Murdock becoming blind and getting the super senses. Of course, Matt Murdock didn't get his vision back. Well, I'm not sure how that goes in Marvel comic books today, something with Tony Stark. Anyways, back then he never got his eyesight back, but he got the super senses from being blind. So that was something else that drew the inspiration from the Black Bat. Now, Black Bat was actually, the second one was actually done by Thrilling Publications, which would later become Nedor. Now, at the time, Nedor was part of a part of them, not the other way around. They would later become that. It's a thing to get into. Nedor was actually going to print out their own Black Bat comic, but with the issues surrounding with Batman, they came out with their Black Bat type character, which they would name The Mask. He was based on both Black Bats, but he was a different character. Now, if you ever want to see a review on that, we can do that as a separate review. But he was someone who was based off of that, but never actually called that. Now, let's see. The original Black Bat would stop its publication in 1953, but his stories would continue in Germany, and I am not even going to begin to butcher this at all. But I'll put the name up right here so you can see what it was called, and it said that it published about 700 German language adventures. So it continued on and was pretty popular in Germany. Now, apparently there was a 2012 movie called Rise of the Black Bat. I have seen a preview for this movie, and I am going to absolutely refuse to watch this. I have seen way too many low-budget superhero movies. I can't do another one right now. Maybe I'll put out a video one day of all the low-budget superhero movies. Like, I know there's a Captain Battle, and apparently one for the Rise of the Black Bat, and I watched Avenging Force: The Rise of Scarab. I cannot watch another bad superhero or low-budget superhero movie right now. I just can't bring myself to do it. Now, I haven't heard of this Black Bat series at all. I actually heard of one from Dynamite. We'll go over that in a minute. In 2011, there was a comic book company that put out a story, I think it was by Clockwork Comics. They claimed that the original Black Bat was dead, and the new Black Cat, under the alias of Steve Ventura, took on the daunting legacy of the Black Bat. He has vague memories of, they kept calling him Anthony Quinn, which Anthony is another name for Tony. They're the same name, like Ben is short for Benjamin, or things like that. Anyways, they hinted that he may have been a clone because he has some vague memories of Anthony Quinn. And he found the high-tech arsenal that he used. And with a former teenage sidekick, he ventured as a new life as the Black Bat. Now, on to Dynamite Entertainment. Apparently, they did their own series in 2013 and 2014. This is Tony Quinn over again. And they basically have the same origin as the one from 1939. A district attorney was blind, but this time he gained the ability to see He can see through echolocation. He uses sound to detect where people and objects are located. So he becomes the Black Bat, a costume vigilante crime fighter. The difference between this character and the Batman character is how Batman never shot guns. Tony Quinn has two, what I think are .45 caliber pistols. Whether he uses that in the Dynamite Entertainment series, I don't know. But I do know that Dynamite Entertainment put out a couple of issues of their own Black Bat story. So there you go. 3 different Black Bats. 2 of them were the same. I hope I was able to give you enough information from the Black Bat. Like I said, total research video. I don't have any of the comics, which after doing this review, I kind of wish that I did. I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope, and no, he wasn't in Project Superpowered. I hope you liked this, and I hope you got requests that you want me to do. I love filling requests, but I'll still keep making videos even if I don't have them. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.